Welcome, Libra rising signs of the zodiac. It's Cosmic Girl 101 talking about the astrology of March. It's quite a month, and if you're an astrology enthusiast, you will know that this month is pretty much one of the big standouts of 2025 and may have a lot of us at this time changing lanes and shifting gears. I'm going to be unpacking what all of this astro activity means for your rising sign in this video. Hope you're doing well. Let's get into it. So I open up the video with talking about your ruling planet Venus as a Libra rising. From the 1st to the 27th of March, Venus will be retrograding in Aries, and then from the 27th of March moving into April, Venus will be retrograding into Pisces. So for now, from the 1st to the 27th, with your ruling planet, Venus, retrograding in the 7th house of Aries, this is about other people. This is a house of contracts, agreements, partnerships, relationships, endings, pleasure, and rest. That's the 7th house. And when your ruling planet's retrograding in here, what you've been proactively engaged with and uniting with and harmonizing with and trying to establish a firm relationship with since the 4th of February, Venus now retrograding is saying, hey, Libra rising, let's consider the energetic exchange that you are eagerly ready to deliver and engage with. So your ruling planet Venus, the goddess Aphrodite, is all about self-love, goes for what she's attracted to. She's into creating love and harmony and union. And when she's retrograde in Aries, we have a very different feel because Venus is in a Mars zodiac sign. That's the natural opposite as a Libra rising, Mars. Mars is the opposite sign of Venus, and Venus has been in that Mars zodiac sign, the 7th house. And that is about, Mars is about, naturally about war. Your ruling planet Venus is naturally about peace. So it's very different Venus that you might have been embodying, or you may have felt like you are a bit of a go-getter and being very strategic and thinking about what you want to aggressively pursue. And that is it. No questions asked. This is what I want. This is what I'm attracted to. And I want it now, and I will execute. So think about since the 4th of February what you've been executing, aggressively pursuing, where you have been, nope, this is it, no BS, I'm done. This is my line of sight, and there'll be nothing that's going to stop me doing what I want to do. In the 7th house of marriage, partnership, relationship, contracts, agreements, rest, endings, and pleasure. And when Aphrodite, Venus, goes into retrograde from the 1st to the 27th of March, Libra rising, this heralds setbacks, delays, and change. All planets represent in retrograde motions change. They act more solar than they do otherwise when they're not in a retrograde. So when they're acting like a solar, when Venus Aphrodite is acting like a solar Venus, this indicates that permanence and individuation is going to be needed for what you are ready to embark on. And when your ruling planet is retrograde and with delays, setbacks, and change, you may be second guessing the bravado and the big energy that you've been exerting in pursuing passionately what you want. Is it sustainable? Can I really do it? Second guessing yourself. Is this the right path? Am I going to lose myself in all of this? What's my energetic exchange? This is what you may be contemplating from the 1st to the 27th of March. What am I, is this really what I want? Like, am I really that forthright? Am I really that brave? And that retrograde motion may have you feeling, oh, it's going to take a lot of consistent effort and ingenuity to sustain my passion. Do I have what it takes? Because it's going to take a lot, whatever I want to create. So you may be not navel gazing, I think you'll be more adept at looking at the logistics and that energetic exchange of what it is that you want to make come to pass. So it's going to be a very interesting transit with your ruling planet going into a retrograde. And Venus does rule that first house, which is your body, what you want to begin your life. And when it's retrograde, it's like, do I really want to begin it? Is it a false start? Did I, bite off more than I can chew? Maybe I need to slow down. Remembering Venus, your ruling planet, is in Aries, a Mars zodiac sign, which is all about just go, keep moving. Your energy is very different. So it's going to be about, can you keep up a momentum? Okay. So on the 3rd, we have Mercury ingressing into Aries. And yes, joining up with retrograde Venus, your ruling planet. So Mercury and Venus will be closely in unison throughout the month of March and into April, actually. So Mercury and Venus, our two personal planets, are working closely together. So Mercury from the 3rd of March to the 15th of March, before Mercury goes into a retrograde on the 15th, he'll be direct in Aries in his 7th house. So Mercury would be in Aries for you as a Libra rising, a really good transit to look at the logistics, the paperwork, the data, the analytics. This is the pros and cons columns on your piece of paper on what it is about relationships or contracts or agreements that you're entering into. What's the cost of these relationships, the contracts and agreements? What is the actual physical cost? What's the money that's involved with my plans? What conversations do I need to have with my relationships and to do with agreements and contracts? What is it that I need to express? Intellectualizing these things that you want to engage with in your future. And you start to process in a very sharp, think on your feet way. Mercury in Aries is witty, quick, swift, agile, likes to move a lot, and is very social. And so this can be social connections with marriage, partnership, relationships, agreements, and contracts. All of these things might be more focused, these topics and subjects, with Mercury here and, talking about the cost and the exchange of what you put in, what am I getting out of it, and also the social components of Mercury in your 7th house. Like, how much networking do you have to do to keep up a commitment in a relationship? How much energy do you need to inject into diarising and making sure you keeping yourself in line with your goals? These sort of things you can be experiencing with Mercury in Aries. Excuse me. But it will go direct on the 15th of March. In retrograde on the 15th of March. So now from the 3rd to the 15th would be a great time to have your negotiations, have your monetary conversations, look at your social connections, where you can network, where you can make the right connections for your intentions with your relationships, agreements, and contracts. Okay. On the 7th, Mars trines the Sun. And Mars Sun trine, this day is about, I'd say it would be a bit of an emotional day on the 7th for you, Libra rising, because Mars in the 10th, trining the Sun in the 6th, it's like maybe coming to peace with a work or employment situation or a service. Yeah, it looks like on the 7th for you, Libra rising, it's like it's easier to emotionally connect on this day with potentially leaving a work role or a public identity, or have a conversation with a superior. And it has that knock-on effect with the 6th house of work, health, services, labor. And this can be the day where you you change your job, you change your title, you have a conversation with a superior. But these conversations or changes that are going on in your public life, in your professional career space, the 10th house, indicates that there's changes going on in your day-to-day environment as well. And the 10th house is also achievements and accolades. So you might have reached a pinnacle in your career, or you've gone as far as you can go with a career on this day, and sort of like coming to an emotional peace with something with your work life, your 10th place with the 6th place as well, harmonizing with it. Mars Sun trine, easy to let go and change something that's been like a permanent residence in your everyday space. Yeah, looks really interesting for you on the 7th of March. On the 11th, we have Mercury conjunct retrograde Venus. So on the 11th, we have planet Mercury, the planet of intellect, commerce, conjunct your ruling planet retrograde Venus. This is as if you're getting communication or information that makes you consider a contract or an agreement or a relationship or a partnership. And it can be quite a intellectually dense day on the 11th. And not just because of the information or communication that you're having, but it's also because the Sun conjunct Saturn at the same time in your 6th house. That's sort of hammering down the weight of this conversation or communication. Because the Sun conjunct Saturn in your 6th house, well, first of all, it sets off a new synodic cycle with the Sun and Saturn. So think of the Sun travels all the way through the zodiac sign from Pisces, Aries, Taurus, you get the picture, and then it'll come back to Saturn conjunct again. So it's going to be quite some time before the Sun meets up with Saturn. And so this cycle is going to have a gravitas to it, like some really weighty consequences, if you will, because Saturn is about the consequence, but it's more about the consequence of time and investment, energy and determination to get something done that at the same time in Pisces can feel sacrificial. So the Sun conjuncting Saturn is the ideal is to buckle down when it comes to services, work, your personal health, labor, and potentially illness, if any at all, and get really serious about anchoring into a new commitment. And so the 11th of March, I'd be circling in your calendar for you to be very apprehensive or possibly nerve wrackingly anxious about the communication or information you're getting with Mercury conjunct your ruling planet retrograde that may have you feeling like you need to take acute action. You're either in or you're out. Is still factoring in that your ruling planet Venus is retrograde, indicating change and adaptation. Okay. So the 11th would be a day of, okay, I'm either committed or I'm not. And it can be very, a little bit uh, tender, if you will. You might be a little bit, oh, is this really happening? I mean, yeah, well, you're ruling planets in Aries, and so is Mercury. And Mars, zodiac sign of Aries, is all about just leadership, entrepreneurship, do it on your own, very individual energy. So this might be about you stepping up to the plate, doing something autonomously, and it might be foreign to you. That's why you might be feeling a bit, the weight's a bit heavy. This commitment's huge. It's going to change me. Okay. On the 13th, Uranus sextiles the Sun. This is a really good day for a slight change of plans that will have you feeling a little bit half glass full. Uranus sextiling the Sun indicates that there is, like a curveball being thrown at you on this day. That feels kind of nice because it's a sextile, but it is going to be hooking up with the Sun in Pisces in your 6th house. And that's the house of work, health, services, labor, and sickness, which we've been talking about. But Uranus is in your 8th house of Taurus. And the 8th house is other people's resources, debt, tax, inheritance, and death. So Uranus is going, boom, here you go. Have this information about other people's resources or finances, and let's see how it sticks with you. Sextiling the sun in Pisces. Is it ideal, this thing that you are engaged with? Because there may be some financial assistance when it comes to work, health, services, and labour that makes you feel, oh, okay, maybe this is a good idea. Maybe I'll consider taking up the support. So expect the unexpected, but you may have a feeling of it half glass full. I don't know why I'm saying that, but I just feel like it's like that. Maybe it's because your ruling planet is retrograde. Okay, moving on to the 14th. Now, this is a really big day. It's our first lunar eclipse of the month in March. We've got two. But the first one on the 14th is a total lunar eclipse, and this is in Virgo in your 12th house. This one's at 24 degrees. So if you have any planets at 24 degrees in Virgo in your 12th house, that natal planet's basically being activated by an eclipse. Now, this eclipse is a lunar one. And so lunar eclipses are about mothers, environments. It's about emotions, of course, feelings, of course, but it's also about the body. And lunar eclipses are like the culmination point where there's like low-hanging fruit on a tree. Things are ripe enough for you to see things in full bloom in a lunar eclipse phase. But the contradicting thing is seeing things in full bloom and the trees ripe in your 12th house of the unseen. It's fascinating, this full moon for you, Libra rising. So let me tell you why. So factoring all the things of what that lunar eclipse means, and in the 12th house of the void. So the void is the intangible. It's not tangible. You can't touch it. You can't smell it. You can't see it. You can't hold it. But you can intuitively, instinctively, with your feelings and emotions, connect with it. But that 12th house is trying to get your attention in some way, shape, or form, Libra rising, because there's eclipses here in your 12th house and they're quite loud and they're lunar. So think of things like that are connected with Virgo. If you're new to astrology, you may not know a lot about the zodiac sign of Virgo. Virgo is anxious, it's analytical, it's critical, it's finite with detail, it's particular, it's picky, it's very much about purification. It likes to call itself soap. It likes to always be clean. And Virgos hold a lot of tension in their bodies and their mental landscapes. And Virgos are all about the service. I've got to keep doing, I've got to keep learning, I've got to keep providing. And Virgo is about being the teacher and a mentor. So think of all of those components of Virgo and then put it in the 12th house of the unseen that we can't see or touch, but we can feel and we can sense it. And when that full moon, in that full bloom stage of maturation, which a full moon cycle always heralds, the peaking point of the moon cycle, but it's a lunar eclipse. I think for you on the 14th as a Libra rising is what's being eclipsed out is the fastidiousness and the self-criticism that you may subconsciously or consciously harness is done, and you are seeing the results within your own spiritual space or psychological space. You can see maybe potentially the harm that you've put yourself through with being so high functioning to be the perfectionist, very Virgoan. And when we get to that lunar eclipse phase for you on the 14th, there's some personal recognition, and it's a private personal recognition, Libra rising, because it is your 12th house, of that's enough of this high functioning, seeking perfection from myself. I am human. I am doing my best. Come on, come on, Libra rising, come on, consciousness. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a cosmic green pass to not be so perfect. And this can be about the environment, the mother, or being a parent, or wanting to be a mother, or you are a parent and, going, oh, just loosen it up a bit. Or you are thinking about your own personal physical body because it's a lunar eclipse, or the environment that you're in. It's not so perfect, my body or my environment. But that's enough. You've done what you can here, and moving forward, I'm going to be more kind to myself. So this is like for you, I think, like a psychological fight with yourself, that you're putting down the swords, and you're just potentially, as a Libra rising, coming to terms with if you will, with not being the perfect one all the time, criticizing, high demands, high expectations of oneself has eventually a body or psychological threshold and limit. And I think on the 14th of March, this is the limit that you come to realization. And that's quite cathartic and cleansing, because it gives you space to laugh, enjoy life, and not be so serious and so driven to perfectionism. So I think that's quite healthy on the 14th of March. And that's only the first eclipse of the month. Okay, let's keep going, Virgo. Libra rising. On the 15th, Mercury now goes into a retrograde, joining your ruling planet. Venus now retrograding in Aries. So Mercury, backtracking. Now, Mercury is intellect, contracts. It is about socializing. It's about documents. It is about money. So what you've been doing since the 3rd of March to the 15th of March, this is where Mercury goes, I'm stepping back. I'm going to reevaluate everything I've engaged with and tried to begin. I'm going to see how things pan out now. Just going to dip my toes into not being so forceful. I'm going to let things organically happen now. So for the 15th of March, you might be ready to take the foot off the gas pedal and just let sleeping dogs lie for the moment when it comes to your 7th house of relationships, partnerships, agreements, contracts, rest, endings, and marriage. That's the 7th house. On the 19th, the Sun now conjuncts Neptune. So the Sun conjunct Saturn, where there was a pretty weighty decision, and now the Sun conjuncts Neptune. And this indicates on the 19th that there can be a changing of the guard. There could be a moment of feeling confused and not confident about the decision that you potentially anchored into a few days ago with the Sun conjunct Saturn. And so this is like nerves, like teething problems, or not feeling completely comfortable in his skin on this day about work, health, services, labour, or sickness on the 19th. So easy does it. Take it easy on yourself. You just had that eclipse in the 12th house, Libra rising. Remember, we're taking it easy on ourselves. Moving on to the 20th, it's the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere and the autumn equinox in the southern hemisphere. So we have a change of season. We feel it, we can see it in our environment on our gorgeous planet. So enjoy the equinox season. And we also have on the same day, the 20th, the sun ingress into Aries, your seventh house. And this is the sun's zodiac sign of exaltation. And the sun will be here for 4 weeks. And when the sun ingresses into Aries every year, it is the start of the astrological new year. It is astrologers' New Year Day, if you will. So happy New Year to you, all you astrology enthusiasts out there. So let's talk about the sun exalted in Aries in your seventh house, where Mercury and Venus have been doing their stuff, and now the sun steps in here and goes, what's going on? So the sun is in its ideal zodiac sign. And this is about life force, starting something new, being entrepreneurial, being a leader, being a trailblazer in a chosen industry or whatever it wants to commit to and engage with. So the sun in Aries for 4 weeks is you're trying on a new outfit when it comes to contracts, agreements, relationships, the topics of marriage, endings, and pleasure. And so you're sort of dipping your toes in and out of a new role regarding other people. And the sun's exalted. So we're talking about the sun being in a zodiac sign that's organic to its nature, which is look at me. I'm just shining. There's nothing you see in the day sky other than the sun. At night, you see the planets and the moon, but the sun takes center stage. So, what's taking center stage for the 4 weeks is relationships, contracts, agreements, negotiations, endings, pleasure, and it's entrepreneurial. It's got a bit of fire to it in Aries, of course. But Aries is transiting into Cancer in your 10th house. So, I wonder for you as a Libra rising, you're trying on a new outfit when it comes to your identity, your public name, your career, um, superior or taking on a superior role in the world. So this, yeah, it looks like an interesting transit for you, but feels very entrepreneurial, very sassy, and very I've got this attitude. But yeah, I'm not too sure about I've got this attitude being completely you owning it because your ruling planet Venus is retrograde. So I think with this transit, you're sort of trying something on, trying on a new outfit, a new personality, a new persona, a new identity is what I'm getting for you. So enjoy it. Have fun. It's fun to play dress up from the 20th of March to the 20th of April. Enjoy that transit with the sun exalted in your seventh house. On the 21st, your ruling planet sextiles Pluto. And this is fabulous for connecting with truth about creative pursuits, your hobbies, your intimate relationships, children, and where you get creative. Like, what do you create out of thin air? It's easy to feel a powerful surge of authenticity, and it could be your mind exploding on this day about how you can get creative with intimacy or a hobby, creative pursuit, or anything entrepreneurial or to do with children. It's really quite empowering on the 21st. It's only fleeting, but enjoy it. You might have a muse come online, is what I'm getting. On the 23rd, you've got the sun conjunct your ruling planet. Yay, that's lovely because the sun, as we've been talking about, is all about shining and being individual. Look at me. And it's conjunct your ruling planet, retrograde Venus. So this is potentially for you as a Libra rising on the 23rd, some surprising exposure or attention that may throw you off guard on the 23rd. So expect something pretty in your face to happen on the 23rd of March. I wouldn't shy away if you're trying to promote or market yourself or connect with a relationship or a contract on this day. I wouldn't look a gift horse in the mouth, is what I'm saying. On the 24th, the sun then conjuncts retrograde Mercury. And Mercury's also in that 7th house with your ruling planet Venus retrograde. The sun is now connecting with Mercury, and the sun says, hey, Mercury, what about considering this avenue with money, or this avenue with communication or socializing, or this way of moving towards contracts, agreements, relationships, or partnerships, or marriage? How about this way? So the sun's sort of giving Mercury some optimistic avenues to consider when it comes to the 7th house topics. So the 24th is really doubling down from the 23rd. Things are looking really good. On the 27th, retrograde Venus ingress is back into Pisces. And that's in your 6th house of work, health, services, labor, and illness. And at the same time, conjuncts Neptune. So what may have felt nervous previous in the month when the sun conjunct Neptune, it's like the sun invigorated your ruling planet Venus, retrograde on the 23rd with a conjunction, and now Venus goes back into the 6th house in her sign of exaltation. So think of your ruling planet is exalted in Pisces. So retrograding, going back there, going, yeah, I can do this with work, health, services, and my body and labor. I can do what I want to do. I'm empowered. I feel strong. The sun's just given me a bit of a injection of optimism, and it's carrying back into your 6th house. So this is a really good connection, because on the 27th, when retrograde Venus conjuncts Neptune, where you may have been nervous or uncertain, this day makes you feel more confident that you can do something when it comes to services, work, health, and labor. So it's like it's just the tonic you needed with the sun conjunct your ruling planet, because it gives you a sense of confidence to carry something forward that you really are quite passionate about. And that can just be as simple as your health, or trying to improve your body, improve service to yourself or services to other, or within your chosen work field. So that's quite nice on the 27th when your ruling planet Venus conjuncts Neptune. So some confidence is definitely coming back online. On the 29th, retrograde Mercury ingresses back into Pisces. So now Mercury's following Venus back into your 6th house with that intellectual sharp mind. It's got all its contracts and social connections and feelers out there. It's got all the money and logistics right. And now it's going back into the 6th house with your ruling planet. So there's plenty of time and information that Mercury can help you with, because Mercury's traveling so close to you as Venus is your ruling planet. So Mercury's trying to give you all the intel, if you will. This is all the intel you need. So Mercury's going, hey, now you need to look at the logistics of the 6th house. What's the cost? What's the social connections? What are the dynamics? And this is what we know, but how does this all fill in and fit in with the 6th house of work, health, services, labor, and illness? What do we need to intellectualize here to improve? So really nice when Mercury ingresses back into Pisces, joining a ruling planet. On the same day, on the 29th, we have the second eclipse of March, and it is a partial solar eclipse in Aries in your 7th house. Yes, your 7th house again as a Libra rising. So we need to talk about this. So again, I'm going to take a drink of water. One moment. So this is the end of the Aries Libra eclipse combination that's been happening since 2023. The first eclipse in Aries happened at the end of March or the beginning of April 2023. That was the first solar eclipse in Aries. That was the 7th house. Marriage, partnerships, relationships, endings, rest, pleasure, agreements. And this is the last of this cycle. So if you can reflect back to then, this ends the cycle of the Aries Libra eclipses, and a solar eclipse in Aries always heralds a powerful new beginning. A brand new door is opening in your 7th house. This is nothing fair weather when we're talking about eclipses in any way, shape, or form. They are very powerful. And this one in your seventh house of Aries, it indicates for you as a Libra rising that there is a powerful beginning with a relationship, marriage, partnership, or a contract. You are very empowered and have the cosmic green light to begin something fresh in the seventh house. So the sun's exalted in Aries. Sun's in the ideal place of look at me. I am important. I am consistent. This is my purpose. So this partial solar eclipse on the 29th is all about green lights. Start again. Refresh. Let's go for it. And it is super powerful. Now, a solar eclipse has its own connotations, as does a lunar one. So the lunar one that we had earlier in March, the lunar ones are about environments, mothers, the body, our feelings, our emotions, our sense of self, who we are embodied. And the solar eclipse is very different. This is about fathers, father figures. This is about being a father. This is also about being a leader, being a king, being a queen, being a mover and shaker, if you will, a standout in an industry, and something big is beginning with all those solar themes in your seventh house. Okay, so this, if you're, for example, you're married, you don't have children, all of a sudden you're pregnant and your partner's now becoming a father or taking on a father role, taking more of a masculine role. You are potentially going to be a leader in regards to the topic of marriage. So, being a solar figure, you could be standing out in the community regarding marriage. You could be an events organizer, for example. Solar eclipse in the seventh house, you could be starting a very powerful, if you will, contract or agreement on this day. But think big new beginnings that are solar in nature. Stand out from the crowd. Enjoy that on the 29th. That's the second solar eclipse, second eclipse of March. Okay, moving on to the 30th. We have, now this is a really big day, ending the month of March. We have Mercury retrograde conjunct Neptune. Again, that confidence coming back online. Retrograde Mercury, maybe, being more confident about letting something go regarding things that are habitual, that are the same, time to change things up on the 30th with Mercury conjunct Neptune. We also have Saturn sextile Uranus. This occurred earlier in the month when Uranus sextiled. I think maybe, was it the sun? I can't remember. I'm going to go back. But, hang on. I'll pause it. I will go back. When was, yeah, Uranus sextiled the sun. So now on the 30th, we have Uranus sextiling Saturn. And this is indicating, again, the gravity of looking at other people's resources that can support you, not being so half glass full and being more engaged with, I can do it, I can take on the help of other people's resources, and maybe I can really benefit from it. So I think you might have been tentative earlier when Uranus sextile the sun, where you were just like, maybe I will take on that resource, maybe it's okay. But now on the 30th, it's Uranus sextiles Saturn. It's more anchored and it's got more consequence to it and weight to it, that I think you're more happy to take on the assistance of another person's resources as well on this day. So that's quite good. I wouldn't rule off either that, again, maybe a partner be it intimate or otherwise, or a resource that supports you, might come to an end as well. So finishing up like a contract or a debt or a financial assistance sort of gets phased out either. I'm not going to write that off. That's always a potential. Okay, and then the last thing that happens on the 30th of March, we end the month with Neptune ingress into Aries. Yep, your seventh house, Libra rising. Let's talk about this. Okay. I feel like I'm talking to a friend going, look, this is how it's going to happen. This is what's going down for you. But I suppose I am just letting you know what, the celestial bodies are doing and how it may play out and show up for you in the month of March. Okay, well, we need to talk about Neptune because Neptune hasn't been in the zodiac sign of Aries since, I don't know, 165 years. Okay, so that's a long time. So now this is like a new Neptune, a brand new Neptune. And Neptune in Aries in a cardinal fire sign. We're talking about a very different Neptune than what it was in Pisces. And it's been in Pisces' sixth house since 2011. And now it's going into Aries. So this is like a soft opening. Like a soft opening is a trial run before something's official. And it's official, a soft opening. It's an official soft opening. But then 2 weeks or 2 months down the line, it's very official. This is happening. So think of it as a trial period with Neptune in your seventh house of Aries from the 30th of March to the 5th of July. And the 5th of July is when Neptune goes retrograde in Aries, the seventh house. So it's direct until the 5th of July in its seventh house. Soft openings with what you started with a solar eclipse. Okay? Think of relationships, marriage, partnerships, contracts, agreements, rest, pleasure, and endings. And Neptune stepping into Aries, which is all about I want it now, I must go, I must act, I must lead, I must be strong in Aries. And the Neptune is about fantasy, illusion, delusion, spirituality. It's mystical, it's creative, it's dreamy, it's wild in its imagination. And you put Neptune in Aries, a zodiac sign of let's go, let's be a pioneer, let's do it. This would be the soft opening to let your freak flag fly when it comes to those seventh house topics. Get creative, shine, have a go. Who cares what you look like? Who cares how other people perceive you? Take all the dreams and all your imagination, whatever you're wanting to begin and start as a Libra rising, and go for it, unfiltered. Remember, you're dropping the perfectionism with that eclipse that you had in Virgo in the 12th house. So, this is about having fun with being the first in line and a standout in the industry with contracts, agreements, relationships, marriage, partnerships. You're a standout. And Neptune's going, yeah, let's make the dreams a reality. Let's take the ethereal and divine and channel it into a creative project or something we can create together in unison with a contract or a relationship. You get the picture. Now, Mercury can be about illusion and delusion, but in Aries, those illusions and delusions I don't think will last long. They'll fizzle out pretty quickly because Aries is about now, go, do it, start, let's grow something. And Aries really doesn't have time for things not to grow. So things will fizzle out pretty quickly if they're not going to stick. So again, it's that soft opening energy I'm getting. So enjoy Neptune in the seventh house. You don't know, your partner could start getting all sexy and weird, and you'd be like, yeah, you just do you. Fun, getting creative. Any agreements or contracts where it needs an injection of optimism and a flair for the creative. This would be a time to market things differently. You get the picture. It's going to be a pretty fun transit. It goes into a retrograde on the 5th of July. So think soft openings. So that's your astrology for the month of March. A lot, huh? Libra rising. There's a lot going on in this month. It's incredible. Feel free to leave any comments in the comments section below. I'm Cosmic Girl 101 signing off. Until next time, stay cosmic.